My brothers and I, as we'll talk about, have all played and coached and/or coached college basketball. And to be honest with you, we saw that there were a lot of bad trainers out there, a lot of coaches that weren't really developing kids the way that we thought that they should, and we wanted to do something about it. So we all had kind of trained individually on our own, unofficially, but didn't really have a structured company. So during the pandemic, I want to say it was around April of 2020. At that time, everything was shut down. Everyone's working from home. And Austin actually sent a text to our group chat and basically kind of called us out and challenged us. He was like, guys, what are we doing? Right? We've been talking about doing this for years. Now's the time. So my oldest brother, who's not on, he's the head basketball coach at Virginia Academy girls, won 3 straight championships, has a shot to win a 4th straight championship. Due to his schedule, he can't be on. He's not as involved on the business side of the company, but he was an integral part of getting the company started in May of 2020. He actually came up with the name. And it really started with, Austin really challenging us to take action, right? Let's stop talking about it. Let's stop complaining about these other trainers and these coaches, and let's start, right? And it's actually counterintuitive, you would think, to start a basketball training company during COVID when there's no gym space, right? Like, it doesn't really make logical sense. But we made it work, man. We did some stuff outside to start, and it's just been steadily kind of growing since.
So what's kind of like the design around the company, like each individual role that you guys play? I know most of you guys are, you dabble with the training as well, like the skills trainers. But what is like kind of the independent roles? Because I know Brandon, you're a director of business development and marketing. Marshall, you're director of operations, and Austin, director of marketing and operations. But how do you guys kind of mesh all your roles together and just keep growing, keep reaching new heights together?
Good question. I'll talk about my role, and then I'll let them individually talk about theirs. We all kind of do a little bit of everything. I would say I'm more so on the operational side, strategy side, um, administrative side of things when it comes to like a formal role. But I do individual training. I help with the camps, clinics, group classes, group training, and things of that nature, team training. But what kind of differentiates my role from I guess the other brothers on the call, I'm probably more focused on the operational strategy side.
Yeah, and I'll add, Mike, when you're a small business, you're going to have your toes dipped into all facets of the business. So like Marshall said, we're wearing all hats, whether it's, the training, the website, social media, all those types of things. We all put our input in it as well. But you're going to have to do a lot more. Sometimes things that you might not even want to do, right? So, but yeah, it's been a great learning experience. I typically handle the social media stuff, as well as building out different events. We've got our President's Day clinic coming up, so making sure from a day-to-day standpoint, the schedule's on point, and then some of the administrative things too. But we all do much of everything that involves the business. So
I mean, everything they said, I was pretty much was going to say. Just to add to that, one thing I'll say is that what we've done outside of just the basketball and training side, we figured out what each other's strengths are. And so for me, in Austin, we're more on the marketing end, and kind of taking the jobs that we currently have. Marshall does do a lot of business development, things of that nature. So we, as a collective, we found what our strengths were, what we were good at, what we weren't so good at, and then from there we kind of collaborated and created our own kind of titles. And just like they all said, we all dip and dive into everything, but we really kind of focus on our strengths and then maximize that.
Yeah, I will add one more thing. Age group wise, we can all work with different age groups, but I've traditionally worked with the like 10 to 14 age group. from a group training perspective. They've all done that age group as well. Austin has done more work with the 8 and 9 to 10 to 11 group. Brandon built pretty much his own little niche with what we call the little goods, which is ages 4 to 7. So he's focused more on that. But we all have interacted with the different age groups. But for the most part, I would say that's kind of how we've just done things up to this point. But like everyone has said, we're flexible, we're nimble. It's not like it's a set in stone. Everyone does this, and then that's all we do.
Hey, Mike, that was code for Marshall doesn't have the patience to work for ages for players ages 8 and below. So he passed something
pretty much.
So you guys are, since you started the company in 2020, like, what are some challenges and like some things that you guys have learned along the way that you kind of like didn't really expect at this stage, but that you've grown through and then just developed more skills and just helped excel the company with?
There's a ton, and I think we could go on for hours with this, Mike. But I would say the biggest challenge that I've seen is just the balance of our own personal lives. We also work full time, and then we have young kids as well. So the balance of that is always tough. You want to dedicate as much as you can to the basketball business, but you still have other responsibilities to adhere to. So that's always a tough one, man. Just balancing everything. But I think we do a great job of still bringing that energy to our programs. We could do a better job of being, I would say, anticipating different things a bit better with our scheduling and things of that nature. But ultimately, I would say the balance of just personal life and doing this is the toughest one.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that and just say, kind of as he already alluded to, the planning side of things. When you work a 9 to 5 and run a business like this on the side, you're planning, and some of the business operation stuff and administrative stuff has to be on point. I think we were more reactive in the beginning because we're just really trying to figure out like what our niche is and just how to get business right. And we had to be more reactive at that point. And then we realized that we were losing out on not only just revenue, but being able to help some people by not planning, ahead, especially in this area. Northern Virginia parents, man, they plan their calendar like a year in advance, right? They're asking us now about summer camps and things of that nature. So I think we've gotten better. We're gonna have to continue to get better. In fact, we've already kind of designed our 2024 calendar, which is things we didn't have fully in place in the past. So we're moving in the right direction, but definitely something that we've had to grow through to be able to hit the goals that we want to hit. Brandon, do you have anything you wanted to add?
Last thing I'll say with the points you guys made was I would say as far as challenges, what we've always noticed as far as building a business is finding kind of mentors or someone we can collaborate with to kind of see, the challenges and the pain points and the setbacks they've had. So that way, when we're able to kind of talk to them and kind of figure out what's worked, what hasn't worked, we can actually, in turn, build our business a lot faster. So establishing collaborative partnerships and finding someone that, is able to kind of mentor us, I think will help us take our company to the next level. So
yeah, one last thing I'll add is I agree with that, Brandon. That's good stuff. But one thing that we realized is the product is good. The product and service is good. People love it. I don't really our training business is a little bit different in the sense that most basketball training businesses are built around one person, right? Like they are building their own business of training, mentoring, and all that. We're not really competing with other trainers. We don't say that in a cocky way because, there's 4 of us. We have people that help, and we're going to have more people that help. But when people talk about their experience with us versus others, it's typically a positive one, right? But we realize our marketing has to be a lot better, right? We got to tell our story more. That's part of why we're on this podcast. So people need to know about us, and we're pretty humble people, and we don't like to brag, but we realize we have to talk more about what we've done in our careers. We have to talk about who we've helped as trainers and as a business, so that people have an idea of who we are. Most of our businesses really come from referrals at this point. And some marketing here and there via like social media ads, but that's something we're really laser focused on this year is the marketing, advertising, promotion side. So something we're gonna have to master.